You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
To get up to like $68,000, my heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Get again.
They say we offer simple answers to complex problems. Well, perhaps there is a simple answer. Not an easy answer, but simple.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
We have serious problems to solve, and we need serious people to solve them.
Republicans and Democrats.
All right, folks, happy Saturday morning. It's just a few minutes past the hour of 10 Eastern right here on Saturday morning, so you know what that means. It means it's time for Finding Common Ground, and as usual, we're about 3 minutes late. Good morning. How's everybody doing? As usual, I am joined by my normal left chair co-host, Mr. Bryce Robbins. Reprising his role as left chair co-host, we also have Mr. Dave Brown joining us today. I actually was trying to find us a fourth as a right chair co-host, but unfortunately, one of the newer, younger members of the station staff actually could not be in attendance today, so it's just us three again. So good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
2 weeks in a row, suckers.
I know, right?
How are you going to live without me? I don't know.
I have missed you, just for the record.
But I missed you too. I enjoy being on this fun excursion here into craziness.
This is like when the how would I put this? Did you guys see the movie with Will Ferrell and Mark Wahlberg when
Stepdads?
Stepdads. This is like Stepdads. I'm the stepdad, and you guys are just like, oh yeah, remember what it used to be like to be together without the new husband in town. Rick and I are a gay couple, and you guys used to be a gay couple, and you see where I'm going with this?
I do. Rick is crying in his Wheaties right now because he's about to throw up from the thoughts of what this would actually entail in these relationships, the down and dirty, the nitty gritty, the bedroom.
No, I was just gonna say I miss the nubbins.
Oh yeah, you do. Ain't nothing like it, baby.
I think you forget what my biggest contract was for the 14 years that I ran a security agency. These type of conversations do not bother me. I spent every night, 7 nights a week, listening to these type of conversations.
And yet he's still conservative, folks.
I am so concerned for the future of everybody talking right now. So,
hey, you brought it up.
I regretfully did so, yes.
Speaking of which,
Good work, sir.
you also made me a child molester, you bastard.
Yeah, I did do that, didn't I? Yeah. Also made you kind of a slut. Whoring out from me to Dave, or Dave to me, and then back to Dave again.
That's all right.
I'm not getting any of this action, so I feel jealous.
No.
You're getting him prostitutes? What?
Anyway,
so Bryce's other job is a pimp. That's good to know.
Yeah.
Have you seen his picture? The dude would be awesome as a pimp. He looks like the kid next door.
Mm-hmm. Get him one of those old like a purple suit that, like, you know, all the pimps in movies wear. They're really decked out, obnoxiously urban, brightly vivid suits. You know, him sporting that action.
He needs the extra large fedora with the feather too, though.
Oh God,
we're supposed to be finding common ground, not discussing my job as a pimp.
Two of the three of us are discussing it. That means we have found common ground.
Exactly. That common ground is finding out what the price is that you can get us on our next hookup.
Oh my God.
Bryce is like, why the hell did you let this stupid fool back on this show?
Hey, like, Bryce opened this Pandora's box. He should blame himself.
To be honest, Dave, that I was thinking more of why did I bring this conversation up, and more so, why are the adults in the room the ones continuing this?
Wait, where's an adult? I'm
confused.
Say,
I'm a failure as an adult, so no.
It's Saturday. I don't have to adult today, so suck it.
This is actually cartoon hour, so.
I miss Saturday morning cartoons, man. That was so much fun as a little kid. That and see, Bryce, you will never know the struggle of having only certain times of the day and week when there were shows just for you. And it was, you know, there was by the time Rick and I were in elementary school, you had some morning cartoons like before school and after school cartoons, but really, especially when we were younger, it was Saturday morning cartoons. That's where it was at. And you had a block of like 3 or 4 hours of Saturday morning cartoons. And then it ended at noon and all hope was lost because it was freaking sports for the rest of the day. And yeah, well, then we had to go play outside. So.
And then now in this day and age, that whole block of what used to be kids programming is now news. I'm like, you people suck. You deprive something from your children that you enjoyed because now that you're old enough, you want to be able to watch news on a Saturday morning.
Well, and to be fair though, there are now 24-hour cartoon networks. One literally called Cartoon Network. There are at least 4 or 5 channels on TV that are completely dedicated to kids. I mean, heck, even if you don't have cable, if you just have an off-air antenna, like here in the Oklahoma City market, the PBS station, there is a 24-hour PBS Kids that you can get over the air for free. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, but I mean, there for a while before everything went digital, there were plenty of kids that really couldn't watch cartoons because they didn't have cable, and that was the only way you could get to stuff like that. So that was one of the reasons why I started getting frustrated about it, because I'm like, you guys took something from your childhood that you really enjoyed, and you stopped some children from being able to access things like that. Now, I will tell you the one thing that I miss about Cartoon Saturdays is back then they didn't have to run the little disclaimer at the bottom of the screen that says, don't try this at home, because we weren't that fucking stupid.
I don't know, man. There were those of us who were, and it is. I mean, with certain things, I don't have an issue with the disclaimers. I mean, yeah, it shakes your head and makes you think, man, are these people really this dumb? But considering we live in a state where a grown-ass man went and bought a Winnebago, was driving onto the highway, turned on cruise control, walked into the back to make coffee because he didn't realize cruise control wasn't automatic pilot. And that idiot won a lawsuit against Winnebago. It's now in the owner's manual. Cruise control is not autopilot.
Nice.
Yep.
Speaking of autopilot, I just heard that there's a Tesla car that can actually learn to drive itself. Someday when I'm rich, I want one of those.
I don't know, man.
They're too rich. They're now only $35,000 before federal tax incentives for electric cars, making them, I read, around like $25,000. So
yeah, except I don't think that one has the learn to drive option.
No. It does.
Oh, it does. Sweet.
It does. The learn to drive option right now for all Tesla models is, I believe, standard, and it will drive on highways, freeways, anywhere that's not like local roads. And if you flick the thing, it'll switch roads, the directionals, it'll switch lanes for you. It'll drive itself for you. It's scary, but true.
You know, I'm not sure that's a good idea. I mean, there's something a little.
Damn it. I grew up watching Knight Rider. I want a self-driving car. Do not deprive me of this opportunity.
You know, what's funny, that is a show that, man, I tell you what, at the time, that show was awesome. You watch that mess now, it is so cringeworthy. Oh, and Dukes of Hazzard is the same way. It just kind of hurts. And yeah, I just cringe when I see that stuff. It's so awful. So awful.
I don't know. Dukes of Hazzard still has Catherine Bach in really tight shorts. I'm still down.
Dukes of Hazzard is racist.
Shut up.
I was kind of just joking there, but all right.
Dude, so okay, it's completely random. As we're talking, I'm flipping through the interwebs here, and I'm seeing this video. And now, take it for a grain of salt. PETA are the people who posted it, but it's of this wildlife safari place in Indonesia, where there's a freaking sleepy ass tiger that people are sitting taking pictures with, and this guy keeps making the tiger is like, "Fool, I want to sleep." And it's trying to lay down, and this I guess the handler keeps pushing its head up to sit kind of upright so someone can sit next to it. I'm just thinking, tiger, at some point this tiger is going to eat somebody, or they're going to take some poor kid's hand and it's going to turn him into me, and they won't have the advantage of having grown up that way, so they're going to have the pains of the phantom limb thing, and it's going to be awful. So who does this? Here, let's have children. Let's have them go sit next to freaking lions. I think that'll end well. Sorry, Ed just caught my attention. I had to share.
Yeah, it's a little scary. I mean, it's one of those.
Well,
things.
that's like that. Do you remember, Ed, did you guys ever see that video of that guy who was? I guess his job was he was a alligator, some crap or another, and he would do the thing where he'd put his hand in the alligator's mouth and do all these tricks in front of this audience, and the gator finally just said, "Screw this," and bit down and did the twirly thing. And just fudged the guy up, and he finally got his arm out, went running off, and I'm like, that serves you right for sticking your hand in a damn alligator's mouth, moron.
This is true. Why would you ever do that? That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life.
I mean, that's like let's go pet the great white shark kind of thing. Now let's not, because these things will kill you. Speaking of things that'll kill you, Bryce, you had something you wanted to talk about today?
Oh, I guess that would kill me. Yeah. All right. So on my show, Opinion Nation, coming up after this, so stay tuned, we have a guest coming on. Her name is Jamaica Ponder. And this girl I actually know personally. We've been friends or acquainted for a little over a year, 2 years now.
Might not be after today, but anyway.
That might be the case. Hopefully not. Like most guests, though, they do leave in the end angry. But anyways, she utilized the application.
So does the producer usually, just for the record.
That's true. She utilized the application Snapchat and took a screenshot of boys at a high school party playing a game of beer pong. And it wasn't just any type of beer pong. They were playing beer pong where it was Jews versus Nazis. And what that means is they align the cups, one side as a swastika, the other side as a Star of David, and play a game of beer pong. She then posted the picture on her blog, and it went viral. In fact, it is the third thing for me on trending on my Facebook link. Princeton, New Jersey, photo surfaces of teens playing drinking game with Jews vs. Nazis theme. Anyways, the town of Princeton is up enraged. These boys are going to get in trouble for this, and it has been picked up by CNN, CNBC, CBS, I'm sorry. But there's articles of it all over online. Now, this isn't the first time this game was ever played. In fact, I was reading about it. It was actually likely invented by a Jewish person sometime in mid-2012 was when the game first appeared online. So my question is that I'll be proposing is, are we being too politically correct? Or are these boys not getting in enough trouble? Where do we draw the line? And, this kind of reminded me of the Donald Sterling incident. And if anybody remembers, he was the coach or the owner, of the LA Clippers, who said blatantly racist remarks behind closed doors. He was then recorded by his mistress, who happened to be black as well, actually.
The irony.
The irony there. But it was eventually released, and he had to sell his team. And to me, I thought, yes, while he's a bitter, racist old man, he was saying it in the privacy of his own home. These boys were doing something in their privacy. They did post it on their Snapchat story, but that's supposed to go away. It's not supposed to be screen capped. It's not supposed to be sent out on a blog. So I'm not trying to defend their actions. No, their actions were stupid, but is this what is deserved? Your thoughts, guys?
Well, just for the record, to show what's trending on my Facebook, just let's compare notes here. Volbeat is number 1. David Hayter is number 2, and the United States Postal Service reducing their prices is number 3. So that's just I think what I'm saying here, Bryce, is you need to stop paying attention to politics so much. Find some other things to talk about. But what's funny is so this is a dilemma because I saw the picture and my first reaction is every single person in this room needs a swift kick in the nuts, and because this is just stupid. On the other hand, there is the whole they're in a private party and whatnot, but this is where young people, and I'm not trying to stereotype, but I think they don't realize this, need to understand that you take a picture, you put something online, even something on Snapchat, which is, quote unquote, disappears after a while, it never goes away. Until the internet dies, it will be there somewhere. And it will come back to haunt you.
But here's my problem. The other day I was watching Conan. I hate Conan, but I was watching it because I was bored. And Sarah Silverman comes on the show dressed as Adolf Hitler and does an entire bit where she's portraying Adolf Hitler and doesn't want to be associated with Donald Trump. So Conan's asking her questions, or Adolf Hitler questions, and he's saying things like, "Oh, I'm not as bad as Donald Trump," blah, 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 blah. And we accept that, and that's fine, and everybody laughs about that.
Difference.
It's
satire. It's satire.
So stupid.
Okay, no, here's the difference. It's satire. The point is to A, be ridiculous, B, make people laugh, and C, make people think. This is a bunch of, most likely, based looking on this picture, entitled, rich, dumbass white kids who probably don't realize that they're being complete a-holes playing a game that is really offensive. Now,
of course, they're being complete douche nozzles. No one would argue that, but
the difference sometimes is the intent. This is a bunch of people who are being clueless, who probably have no malicious intent at all. They're just dumb. I mean, they're high school kids doing a drinking game, which, yes, everyone that we've ever gone to high school with, we've all known someone in high school that got absolutely snockered at parties. I didn't do it, but that is okay. There are people that did. It's just something that happens. And there are probably things that our parents did in high school and college parties that would make us vomit in our mouths if we ever found out about it. So yeah, that people do stupid stuff when they're young. So I don't think there's any ill intent here. It's just ignorance. And it's the kind of ignorance that leads people to vote for Donald Trump or things of that nature. It's just yeah, no, I get what you're saying. I think people are way too politically correct. This chick who probably got up in arms, bless her heart, is probably one of those, I suspect maybe is one of those people that gets really hell-bent on certain things and just obsesses over them and wants to push buttons or has nothing else going on in her life. Maybe, I don't know. I mean,
there was no chill here. She knew these people. Like, she goes to school with them. She went in.
Man, that's I bet school sucked for her lately. That's What do you think? Rick's been awfully quiet. What do you think here, sir?
Yeah, you guys were kind of going back and forth, so I was just waiting until somebody asked. Okay, so let me give you my rational take on this. As long as it remains something that happened behind closed doors and was happening at a party, it was nobody else's business. As soon as somebody was dumb enough to put a picture of what they were doing in public domain and they didn't expect to get ridiculed for it, then they're the ones that are being retarded. It's the exact same argument that Bryce just made in reverse for the guy that got outed because somebody illegally recorded a conversation with him, because honestly, you can't do that in certain states. I'm not sure what the rules were in that state, but then it was still used anyway. This is the exact opposite. Somebody willfully and willingly posted a picture online of a really stupid party joke, and it blew up on their face. So screw them. It's their own fault anyway. If you'd have kept it private, fine. You didn't. You thought it was cool, so you were going to share it with all your friends. Some people don't think it's cool. Then you deserve the ridicule that you get, because personally, it's off color. It shouldn't have happened in the first place, in my opinion. But as long as you kept it in the point where it was happening at a garage party somewhere or wherever it happened, it was nobody's business. But you decided to take it public, so F off, because now you get what you asked for, because that was a dumb thing to do in the first place.
Now, here's another two points I want to make. One, is it really, do you guys consider it public? Because those images are supposed to go away. They're not supposed to be there for more than 24 hours. And, that's really that. But second, the big problem here is these boys, I don't know if they're going to get in so much trouble because they're not really doing anything wrong. It says even in the article that possession of alcohol by minors on private property is not a crime. It's a misdemeanor. But
correction, but a misdemeanor is by definition a crime.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's not a misdemeanor then. It just says it's not a crime, so I was assuming that it was a misdemeanor.
Right. Underage drinking, in most areas, is at least some type of crime.
Okay. So, but then it goes on to say, however, if there is evidence that somebody bought alcohol for minors or provided a place specifically for them to consume it, that is illegal. So the people who would really be getting in trouble by this, one can then, tie the knots here, is the parents. See, while the intent to expose and out this awful image was all well and good by this girl Jamaica, what we end up seeing is the people who I fear are going to get in trouble are the parents of these children. I mean, I don't know these children, but that's just what I kind of got from that, is that the kids are going to get off scot-free. And if anybody's going to get in trouble, it's going to end up being the parents. The kids are going to get a slap on the wrist. And again, if anyone's going to get in trouble, it's going to be them.
Okay, Rick, is it just me, or does it crack you up a little bit when when Bryce here talks about kids his own age as children.
Yeah, just
it just
a little.
makes me chuckle.
just a little. But speaking as a parent, if the parents are the ones that get in trouble for the fact that somebody posted an image of something that shouldn't have happened, especially if they were providing a place for them to drink and or provided said alcohol, they knew the risks when they did it. So they should be ready to face the consequences. Yeah. Look, the world world has changed. When I was a kid, when I was 16, my dad would be like, "Look, I don't want you drinking at parties. I don't want you drinking here. If you want to drink, then come to my house. We'll take care of it. We'll hook you up. You can invite over whoever you wanted." That worked for me because it took the fun out of it for me. Because I was like, well, damn, if I can do it without getting caught, what the hell's the fun in that? So most of the time I didn't drink. Hell, to this day, I really still don't drink. I drink maybe a 6-pack a week, maybe, if I have it in the house. Other than that, I really don't drink because it's never been anything where it was like, ooh, let me see what I can get away with. Now, at my mom's house, when I wasn't at my dad's house, because we were bicoastal, where we were. I was on either the East Coast or the West Coast for most of my teenage years, so I was flying home to Dad's for Christmases and summers and everything else. So now at Mom's house, the rules were entirely different, and there was an entire liquor cabinet, so I used to just take a little bit out of each bottle and put it in a shampoo bottle that I'd always take to school, and then I would just put a little bit of water back into the bottles. So, I mean, I was just like, in my gym locker, and everybody was like, why are you drinking out of a shampoo bottle? I'd be like, because it's not shampoo, shut up and go away. Just different
so did
things.
You clean the shampoo bottle first to get all the shampoo out before you put your liquor in there? Because I'm just thinking that could have some gross aftertaste.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course, you use up all the shampoo, you fill it with hot water, you let it sit for about 2 days, then you fill it with hot water again, you let it sit for another day, and then you rinse it out with cold water. Usually by then all the soap residue is gone, and you do whatever you're going to do with the bottle.
Damn, he put some thought into this.
Yeah, this is like the type of shit you like see in like a movie maybe of like
14-year-old MacGyver action here.
Yeah, right. Like kind of too well thought out for me.
I mean, it's so if the parents had nothing to do with this party, if they were out, if the kids got in there and were doing this without the parents' know-how, and if the parents did not provide the alcohol, then obviously they should not be held responsible. It's the kids who did it because the kids did everything without permission. I don't know if that's how things would legally go. The parents would probably get in trouble. But
trust me, in this day and age, the parents are going to get hammered. I had a teenager who skipped school a lot, and we didn't know till he actually got busted by a truancy officer. So my wife had the bright idea of making him go through the legal process because they were like, well, you can just pay the fine and this goes away. And she's like, no, my kid's been skipping school. I want him to understand that there are consequences. The only thing that wound up happening is by the time it was all said and done, we kept having to pay fines because of the fact that they didn't actually want to do anything to punish the child. They were just interested in trying to find a way to make money.
Yeah, that's where good intentions in a system get messed up. But so yeah, the parents are probably going to be the ones, if anything happens. What's most likely going to happen, and I'm making some general assumptions based on the appearance of these children and this room, is I suspect there is some wealth around here, probably some people that are pretty high up in this community, and it will all go away. Because that's how things happen in America. Unless you're poor. Or sometimes black.
No, that's true. And I would agree with that. Money, that's like the same thing when you look at what Bernie Sanders' argument is, you have the people on Wall Street who steal billions of dollars from the American people and destroy the economy. And then you have poor black kid smokes a dime of weed and he gets a criminal record and fines and whatever. And yeah, so yeah, you're absolutely spot on there, Dave. I would not disagree with you there.
Yeah. And I firmly believe it has far more to do with wealth and stature than it does having to do with anything quote unquote racial. Because as OJ has taught us, you can be black and as long as you're rich, you can get away with murder. You'll go to jail for something else after you get busted, but you can, because there are just as many poor white kids that screw up that, had they had rich families and would have gotten a slap on the wrist, they're in prison now. So it's not, our justice system is not blind. No, that it is not blind at all, sadly. But yeah, at the end of the day, this is what could possibly happen to these kids, is where it could come back to haunt them, is sometime down the line, they're going for a job, and somebody at said job doing background checks with probably way too much time in their freaking hands Googles the F out of these kids and finds this. Oh, we don't want to hire you because you did this. I was 15. It doesn't matter. We search your name and we find this forever. So this is, again, boils down to, if you're stupid enough to put something online like this, you better realize that you almost have to look at it like, don't put anything online that you don't want read in court, that you don't want to have to show your parents, things that would really, in the long run, embarrass you. And there are tons of people that put tons of crap online that do this, but and I'm not a believer in an employer stalking an employee's social media. It's none of their damn business. But they do it. And until there are, rules or things stating that that an employer can't do that, they're going to, and it will come back and haunt you. And imagine, what if one of these jamokes runs for office someday? This will be all over campaign material for their opponent. Think about that the next time you're going to go post some dumbass selfie when you're drunk.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
That was an attention getter, because we got to take a break, guys. We'll be right back.
Like, holy shit, who shot a gun?
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
When our water heater broke down last month, it was a nightmare. It took 5 hours for the plumber to show up, and he charged us a couple of $100 just to come out. And then it cost another $1,800 to put in the new water heater. By the time it was all said and done, I felt like I'd been taken. But what else could I do?
The smartest thing you can do is get a home warranty from American Residential Warranty. Their home warranties pay to repair or replace all your major appliances when they break, and they will break, and at the worst possible time. Call American Residential Warranty right now for free information on home warranties starting at just pennies a day. Don't wait for your refrigerator to stop running or your ceiling fans to stop turning. Call American Residential Warranty right now. Ask how you can save up to 50% on washer and dryer coverage. Just call 1-800-513-6154. That's 1-800-513-6154. Again, 1-800-513-6154. Call now.
Wondering why you're up early with us on a Sunday morning making a cocktail? News lately got you drinking? Hung over from the mainstream media by Sunday? We are, and we got you covered.
We sure do. We got your hangover cure for those weekly news blues. So sit back, top off your mimosa, and add some Baileys to that coffee.
Take a match to your copy of the New York Times. Light, funny, and oh yeah, news with booze.
And a lot of laughter.
Welcome to Bloody Marys and Broadsheets.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rails. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
Our military service members volunteer to protect us in the most dangerous places around the world. They step up. And when they are severely ill or injured, returning to their families is only the beginning of their long road home. Wounded Warrior Project provides these brave men and women whatever they need to continue their fight for independence at no cost for life. So now it's time for a grateful nation to step up. Join us at findwwp.org.
It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground. It's common ground.
All right, folks, we are back. We are live. And for those of you who were concerned, no, that was not an actual gunshot, because apparently my co-hosts weren't quite so sure.
You know, I got a fever. I do. And the only thing that'll fix it is more cowbell.
Nice. I don't have a cowbell sound effect, so you're kind of out of luck there.
I'm so confused right now.
Oh my God, did you never see? That's a classic Christopher Walken Saturday Night Live skit.
And how old is Bryce?
Oh, shut up. I keep forgetting he talks like he's, a grandpa. But Colin
kind of acts 60. Like one, too. Have you seen his Facebook page?
I've seen the ties, man. What's up with the bow ties? You got that bow tie action going on.
I like bow ties. Bow ties are much nicer, or well, no, not nicer necessarily, but I like bow ties.
I mean, you pull it off. I'm not judging. It's just an interesting choice for fashion. The bow tie.
I think it's his nod to the Matt Smith doctor, because he was really big on bow ties too.
Okay.
And he probably doesn't even know what I'm talking about right now.
No idea. Nope. No effing clue.
Doctor Who?
Yes.
Oh, Doctor Who. Gotcha. There was a... What was it going to... It had to do with Doctor Who. No, I forget.
You're probably talking about the April Fool's joke that had, I can't think, Bruce Campbell as the American Doctor. There was like there was a meme going around for days, and it was, or I guess that one day I was like, man, that sucks, because I would actually watch that. That's like a really cruel April Fool's joke, to see somebody that you like that. I mean, Bruce Campbell's always done campy type stuff. I have to admit, I think the favorite thing of mine that he ever did was Burn Notice, because the other stuff that he's done has just been kind of really out there. I mean, I liked it, but Burn Notice was the first thing that he did that was semi-serious. And then I saw that and I realized it was an April Fool's joke, and I was like sad. I was like, man, I would actually probably watch that.
Bruce Campbell was fantastic in Xena Warrior Princess. Also, the Briscoe County was a great. The Adventures of Briscoe County Jr. was fantastic.
Actually, I kind of forgot
and really,
about those
the first Evil Dead is not the campy mess that when people say Evil Dead, they normally think about Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness. But the first Evil Dead, it was made for like $4 and a pack of gum. But it's got some really cool moments, and it's not played up as campy cheese. And just the final shot in that movie where the I guess it was called the Force is running through the forest, and then it goes through the innards of the house, and then it runs Bruce Campbell over. I love that shot. That's a feat of $5 filmmaking right there. But yeah, Bruce Campbell, you're right though. He is, the vast majority of his career has been camp and cheese, but he can really act, and it's kind of a shame that he never got a real shot at being a mainstream actor. He made a great career out of everything he's done, but I think if he came along today, if he was, his age, if he was however old he was when he made Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2 and all those now, he'd probably be a huge star. But yeah, he was just ahead of his times. But and that when I saw that, I didn't actually watch any of the clips or read any of the articles, but I saw the thing on Facebook on April Fool's, and I was like, that is awesome. That would actually make me watch Doctor Who, because I've never watched Doctor Who.
I've always thought there should be an American version, because that's usually what winds up happening with British shows. Is there'll be like a really cool British show that they're afraid might go over our heads a little bit, because we don't always get British humor in some of the dry stuff that they do. Like Being Human was originally a British show. It was based on a vampire, werewolf, and a ghost. Well, they eventually made an Americanized version on Sci-Fi. And I've watched both, and honestly, I still preferred the British version, but the American version wasn't bad either. It's been one of the things that I was surprised they never really did, because that's usually what winds up happening, is somebody that does like a production company will see a really cool British thing and be like, hey, we're Americans, we can do this better. They usually don't, but it's still interesting to watch. And I was surprised that never actually happened with the Doctor, especially when the Doctor was resurrected the last time before it went back over to BBC. It actually ran on Sci-Fi for like 2 seasons. I was expecting at some point for it to become an American spinoff, and it never really did.
It's probably because Doctor Who is super popular in the United States. When The Office first appeared in England, and when Being Human first appeared, no one knew. For the most part, the masses didn't really know anything about those. Doctor Who has such a long and storied history that trying to do a remake probably wouldn't go over very well. I mean, look what happened when in the early 90s when they did that Dark Shadows TV series, and it went over like a wet fart. And Dark Shadows is still beloved by many people, the original. And I actually liked the remake, but I didn't know anything. I was like 15 watching it. I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
I never actually saw the remake.
It was fun. It was fun. Yes, Bryce, go ahead.
Okay, so the other day I was watching Firefly, and I've just kind of been trying to get into it. But I read that there's only 14 episodes in a movie, and it kind of just flopped. But for some reason, there's a big fan base. So how could a show flop, but at the same time have a huge fan base?
I don't know. Ask Gene Roddenberry, because that's exactly what happened with Star Trek, not once but twice.
Sometimes things they become a cult status. Had Firefly been on a network other than Fox, it probably would have done fine. It would have gone on for a few seasons. Had the CW been around at the time, it probably would have done really well on there, or even on Sci-Fi or something. A lot of times what happens is you've got these shows, or you have something that strikes a nerve with certain people, and it's a very niche market. And so there's only a certain number of people that get into it at the time. And then the big executives look at this and say, well, it's costing us more money than it's worth to make this. Doesn't matter that we've got, X number of however many hundreds of thousands or maybe small number of millions of people who are diehard fans. It's not worth it to keep going. And so it gets canceled. And then the legacy grows and grows and grows, especially as people from said show go on and do other things. You look at those people, most all of them have gone on to do other stuff. And what's his name's in Castle, and what's her name was in Deadpool and is in Gotham. So a bunch of them have shown up in other Joss Whedon projects, because once you're in a Joss Whedon project, you're like in every Joss Whedon project at some point somehow. So, you kind of have to be someone that understands really niche things. From everything I can tell about you, Bryce, you are an absolute political junkie. That is your thing. Not everyone gets that. It's just like being into punk rock or being into Doctor Who or something. There are certain groups of people that just absolutely love it and get it. And then there's everyone else, because not everything can be Monday Night Football. Everyone watches it, or in many cases blindly loves it, because that's what you're told to do. That was a long answer to a really short question.
Indeed. I can't really disagree with that much. It just makes sense to me.
It's okay, you're young.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll make more sense to me as I grow older. I'll understand the true meaning of that message.
Well, no, if you ever get into something and really get into it, and then the masses don't get it, and you're sitting back going, "What the F? Can't you people see how amazing this is?" And they don't get it, that's when you'll understand.
Yeah, it happened to me with Firefly.
I
I was late to Firefly. I didn't really even watch it until a few years ago.
It happened to do with climate change.
Way to bring it back to politics, sir. Good job.
I don't even know how to respond to that. Like, other than ba-dum-bum.
But yeah, I mean, it legitimately did happen to me with Firefly because I was actually into it, and it was just one of those things where when it was good, and it's happened to me a couple of other times since then because it honestly, the way you're talking about Fox now in a lot of ways is how I've come to think of ABC, because usually any show that I really like up until recently on ABC usually winds up dying. So I had gotten to the point where I wouldn't even invest the time to start watching because I was like, what the hell's the point? I'll get 10 episodes in and they'll decide they canceled it. And it was one of the things that I used to love about CW when it was a startup, because they would run anything until it was dead. They literally would, because they didn't care. And so there were shows that probably would have died anywhere else that took off, and they grew and they grew and they grew just because they just kept running them. And I remember it was back when you were still on with me on a regular basis a couple years back, before you changed your schedule. And we were talking about the fact that for the first time ever, CW was starting to make decisions that made it seem like one of the big networks. Like they canceled three shows that I really, really liked. And I'm like, this is not how the CW used to be. And now they're turning it into everybody else. And it makes me so mad. And yeah, I mean, we did like a whole hour for that because you kept trying to change the subject and I kept going back to it.
And overall, CW is my favorite network. I mean, they've got... I watch more shows on there than just about any other network. But they have, I think it was with Supernatural was taking off. I mean, they had, Smallville, which they had on for, granted it started on WB, but it ran for 10 years. And then I think a lot changed with the Vampire Diaries, and that show took off. And that show brought in a lot of viewers to the network. Now, granted, a huge hit on CW is not the same as a huge hit on NBC. It's nowhere near the same volume of viewers, but they're able to make these shows that look fantastic for pennies in comparison, and are able to do that. And that's one of the things I like. And yeah, they still do cancel shows that make you go, what? Why'd you cancel that? But not everything sticks around. I know there was one show on Fox that you and I both watched, Almost Human. That was fantastic. That had what's his name who played Judge Dredd and then plays McCoy on the new Star Trek films.
Yeah, for some reason I can't think of his name, but I know
Carl Urban.
Carl Urban, that was it.
Yeah, he was also in the Lord of the Rings movies. He's awesome. And that was such a good show. So good. But it got canned. I mean, other shows that didn't last very long. Constantine, that was over on NBC, was fantastic. Had it been on some other network, it would have survived. It'll be interesting to see if Lucifer on Fox survives. I've been watching that. I've enjoyed the heck out of it. I think it's a great show. And anything that makes the Million Moms organization unhappy is fine by me, because those ladies are crazy. But it's a great show. Now, will it last? I don't know. I think it will. I think it has a better chance than Constantine because it's sexier, and so yeah, it's a sexier show. But we'll see. And we got Constantine back on Arrow, so that made me happy. And so yeah, have either of you been watching Supergirl?
Oh yeah, I watch it avidly.
No. Very good, very good show.
These shows, I wish I did.
Because you're more concerned about climate change and whatever's going on at the UN.
No, my biggest concern, and you guys might not understand this, but if you've ever been to Times Square in New York, there are a bunch of people who dress up in costumes and want to take pictures with you and then ask for a tip. And then they take off their masks, and a lot of them are Latin American or Central American people. And, well, anyways, point is that they finally made a rule change to get them off the Times Square area. I'm kind of happy about this.
I heard about that controversy. I don't live in New York. I've never been there. Actually, the idea of going to New York City kind of terrifies me. So I really have no opinion. I mean, it seems, on the one hand, it seems like, kind of big government, big brother-y type of thing. But on the other hand, when I was in Dallas one time, I remember getting stopped on the street a number of times just by random people asking for money. And I thought it made me very uncomfortable. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, who knows? I don't really have an opinion on that.
Yeah, I'm just saying. It just kind of grosses me out.
Hey, Dave, I can't remember. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but we're about out of time, and I can't remember if I asked you this. Back to the Supergirl thing. With the recent crossover, was it my imagination, or was he not only on an alternate Earth, but a little bit out of sync with the timeline that he originally came from, since they showed him wearing something that they didn't even reveal really existed until the next episode on CW. I was kind of confused by that.
They said that the Flash episode actually happens first in the timeline before the Supergirl episode, but they just didn't have control over which aired first. I remember who was it when Buffy and Angel ended up being on separate networks, and they still had things commingling. There were a couple of times where events didn't transpire correctly from one show to the other because they aired it. They weren't able to coordinate the airing of the episodes. So that was it. I mean, it was. I think there's still more we're going to get explained on Flash in the next episode about what happened, because I don't even remember seeing that, other than at the very end they were like Tachyon and, oh hey, it's that thing that the old Wells was wearing, and then the episode like ended. So it's like, wait, we don't see him running and disappearing, and what?
Yeah, I don't. But yeah, so, I'm still confused as to the whole how Jay could have been there and been the reverse. Or anyway, I'm tripping over my own tongue trying to explain that one.
Is that one possibly that the Zoom is the Jay Garrick of the future, and he came back in time after he went evil to mess with people? Because in that very first episode, you see them fighting and see Zoom taking his own powers. I'm guessing it'll be explained at some point.
That's actually a good. But see, I guess my thing with that is, if he was the Zoom from the future when he killed the dude from the past, how the hell is he still there?
Well, if you remember, after that, he even made a comment. Well, this complicates things.
Well, yeah, so, but that's the thing that I don't understand, because up until then they hadn't suspended that particular rule, because you actually watched one of the main characters kill himself to make the Reverse Flash disappear. So if that was something that should have been able to play out, then how is that rule suddenly suspended for this one? That's what's been making my head hurt, because I'm trying to figure out if it's...
Unless he created a time anomaly when he went back in time, and thus he is now coming from an alternate timeline.
That could be true.
Yeah, this is where, as much as I love the concepts of multiple Earths and the multiverse and everything, it's stuff like this that makes your head hurt. Just in the comics, when they had an event called Convergence, and in that event, it basically undid all of the major reboot events of the last 30 years. And so much to the point that they didn't happen, but every single Earth that ever existed exists. And I'm like, wait a minute, how is that possible? If some of these Earths only existed because of the events of this other event that now didn't happen, how do these Earths exist? And how are we where we are? Because we couldn't be where we are if we hadn't been here first, and we couldn't have been there first if this other thing hadn't happened.
The chicken and the egg, the world will never understand. All right, folks, at this point, we've got to make room because Bryce has a guest coming up next, so I have to shut this broadcast down to start the other one. Any last words, gentlemen?
Will do.
Yeah.
All right, we're out, folks. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday.
It's common ground.